Good morning, good morning. Please, we are here together. Let us join our voices in song. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Rise and body or spirit. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? Sounds like freedom, somebody's calling my name. Sounds like freedom, somebody's calling my name. Sounds like freedom, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? You can echo. Yeah, there it is. Soon one morning, death comes creeping my room. Soon one morning, death comes creeping my room. Soon one morning, death comes creeping my room. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? I'm so glad the trouble don't last always. I'm so glad the trouble don't last always. I'm so glad trouble don't last always. Oh my Lord, what shall I do?
Good morning. Good morning and welcome. I am Reverend Taryn Strauss, Senior Minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. We are here to do the work of transforming lives through courageous action and soulful connection. And today is a multi-generational worship service. So I especially want to welcome us all, children, youth, elders, middle of lifers, and those of you who are joining us online, you are welcome. And I also want to extend a special welcome to those across the veil, those who have passed on but are still a part of this beloved community, still a part of us here at UUCA. So welcome to the ancestors. Where the dominant culture would keep us separated, here in this congregation, we can embrace the opportunity to build relationships across generations, across age groups, to find mentors and connections, to welcome our ghosts, to honor our ancestors and make a place for them too at the welcome table. So we are going to be talking today about friendly ghosts and spirits. We're also going to be talking about death and people who have died. And we might feel a little sad at times. So you see we've got some Kleenex boxes. And so if you are feeling a little bit sad, Mr. Rogers used to say, everything that is human is mentionable. And so it's okay to feel sad. You can cuddle with the adult who you came here with if that's how you're feeling. But we will all be in it together. Amen? We ready? So we gather, and after the service, but hopefully before lunch, you can get your candy in before lunchtime and come to the trunk or treat that is happening in the parking lot outside. So we want to invite everybody to come and join us for the celebration of our trunk or treat in the parking lot. I will be there with a ninja, I think, and some kind of other scary being as well. So we gather here in this house of belonging, in this sanctuary that passionately welcomes our non-binary siblings, this place that proudly reads banned books from this chancel, this congregation that wholeheartedly believes Black lives are to be celebrated and cherished, this place. It is not just a building, it is so much more than that. It is a beacon. It is a beacon of liberal faith and social justice with history behind it, with a hopeful future ahead. And it stands strong in an increasingly polarized political landscape. UUCA exists today because you deem it necessary. It is you. It is your passion, your soulful work, your creativity, your leadership, and it is your financial contributions that fuel the enduring presence of this holy and fierce and justice and love-seeking community. And as we approach the conclusion of this year's stewardship campaign, that's true. The clock is ticking. The talk is also ticking. Let us honor those of you who have already committed to the journey ahead into the next year. So, you out there, if you have made your pledge already for 2024, please rise. Please stand if you've already made your pledge, and if you, or in body or in spirit, or you can wave your arms, and let us celebrate you. We celebrate you. We are so deeply grateful for your commitment, which keeps our chalice lit as a symbol of justice and peace. And those of you who have been called or visited by my husband, James Richards, he is just having a wonderful time making these stewardship calls. So if anybody is interested in making stewardship calls, he just every night tells me stories about the person who he talked to and just how much he's enjoying getting to know them. So it really is fun, and it's a great way to just get to know one another in our community. But friends, our work is far from over. We are so grateful and so heartened by these 133 pledges that have been made so far. However, to fully realize our mission, our plans for next year and beyond next year, we need 300 more pledges. That's a real number. We need 300 more pledges in the next 2 weeks. That is a lot, but that's how many people we really have meaningfully involved in our community. I think we have those folks there. We have our work cut out for us, yes, which means that if you remained seated today, we are really counting on you. We are counting on you, and I believe there is a table in the hallway after the service where you can go ahead and talk to someone friendly and lovely at that table and make your pledge today. And also, you can look for an email that is coming to you on Tuesday. So keep an eye out for that email that will outline exactly what we are asking you to pledge for the upcoming year. So don't worry, we're not going to make you guess. Wonderful, beautiful people have it all figured out for you. And for those of us who are joining live stream, you too are an integral part of our community. Your pledge is equally vital to all of us reaching our collective goals. So please open that email on Tuesday, really read it, look it over, talk about it with your family, and go ahead and make next year's pledge before we gather here this time next Sunday. Can we do it? Can we do it? I can't hear you online. I can't hear you out there. Yes? Are they saying yes on the chat? All of us. It's going to take all of us to keep these lights on, to keep this beautiful dream and place going. This congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, exists because you believe it should. So let us continue our transformative work, our ministry of serving as a beacon of healing and hope, which can only continue with your pledges, and at best, your sustaining pledges. Your pledges are really the hopes and dreams you have for us all. It is you who makes this place beautiful. These pledges are one way you let us know how you hope our ministries and our mission will take shape to do the most good and serve the most in our community in this corner of Atlanta. And without these pledges, we are lost in so many ways. But when we receive your pledge, we know then that we are on a path together, a path towards healing, a path towards justice, a path towards peace, as a sacred center for learning and beauty that celebrates diversity and religious freedom. And friends, there is nothing like UUCA. Nothing like it. There is just nothing like this place out there. So please do it today or do it within the next 7 days so that all of us on staff can find our relief and go ahead and keep planning for next year. So thank you so much. I want to also just welcome Lelena Romero, who is joining us in song and song leading today. We have a number of wonderful people joining us for our multi-generational worship. Also want to just recognize Bryce Thomason, who is the captain of this ship in so many ways. And our amazing AV team who makes this look so beautiful and sound so beautiful. I want to thank all of those who are performing and producing worship today. We're so excited to have you with us. All of our welcomers. It just takes all of us to make this place beautiful. So thank you. And at this time, I want to invite Alex Welch, who is going to light our, oh, there you are, who's going to light our chalice, who's going to Alex, a member of our senior high youth group. So let us all say our chalice lighting words together. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace.
Our story this morning is Ghost Wings by Barbara M. Juice, illustrated by Giselle Potter. There is a place in the Mexican forest where monarch butterflies go. In the autumn, millions arrive to rest in Oyamel fir trees and fan their wings in the sun. This place is called the Magic Circle. I remember the day the butterflies left. They were the color of the sun setting on the mountains. They filled the trees with gold. So many they made the boughs bend. When they flew away, their wings rustled like skirts. That was the day my grandmother died. Grandmother was my best friend. We made tortillas, we sang our favorite songs. Grandmother worked the dough on a big metete, pushing and mashing it till it didn't have any lumps. And I had a little metete right next to hers. When the tortillas were ready, we cooked them side by side. At night, Mama tucked me into bed, but I heard monsters slither on the floor. They snapped their teeth and hissed my name. I pulled the covers up to my chin, but still the monsters slithered and snapped. I cried out to Papa. He said, "You must be brave." I called out to Mama. She said, "Nonsense, there are no monsters." But Grandmother leaned her broom against my bed, and laid beside me, smelling like cornmeal and roses. If the monsters dare to come, I'll chase them away with my broom. With grandmother next to me, no monster snapped their teeth, and none of them hissed my name. One spring, grandmother became as thin as smoke. She didn't make tortillas. She was too tired. She said, "It's almost time for the butterflies to leave. Come with me to the magic circle and we'll say goodbye." It was a cloudy day, and the butterflies clung to the trees. Their wings were closed, and they were still as stone. One butterfly lay on the forest floor. I picked him up and blew warm breath on him. He shook his wings and flew away. "Close your eyes," grandmother said. "Do you still feel the butterfly?" I nodded. My arm still tickled. "That's because they carry the souls of the old ones, and the old ones never really leave." Then the sun came out. The butterflies rose in a whoosh. They filled the sky with gold. In a few weeks, all the butterflies were gone. The magic circle was empty. That was the day my grandmother died. Papa took me to the magic circle and we cried together. He said, when you love someone, they never really leave. But the butterflies were gone and my arm didn't feel the tickle anymore. That night, the monsters crouched beneath my bed and hissed my name. I trembled in my bed alone. I wanted grandmother. I leaned her broom against my bed, but there was no one between me and the monsters. The time of the roses passed and became the time of marigolds. This was the season for the days of the dead, the time to remember the old ones. At the market, we bought candles, and Mama chose a bag of oranges. When I smelled them, they made my nose prickle. I bought a little skull made of chocolate and sugar. After lunch, Papa set up an ofrenda, and on it, Mama put candles, oranges, and my grandmother's picture. I leaned her broom against the altar and spread rose petals and cornmeal on top. Mama lit the candles, and their flames shook the shadows from the room. Papa said, "I remember grandmother." Mama said, "I remember that she taught me how to cook." I tried to remember grandmother too, but she seemed far away. All night the candles flickered on the ofrenda. I smelled roses and cornmeal as I went to sleep. In the morning, we walked to the cemetery. All neighbors were there. We cleaned up the graves of the old ones. I spread flowers over grandmother's grave and ate my chocolate and sugar skull. The neighbors filled the cemetery with picnic baskets and flowers, stories, and song. There was a tiny flicker in the sky. It was a butterfly. Soon the tombs and crosses were covered with flickering gold. One of the butterflies landed on my arm. It fanned the sun with its wings and tickled my arms with its legs. I said, I remember that grandmother was brave. She chased monsters with her broom. I remember how she smelled like cornmeal and roses. She sang songs and made tortillas, and when she took me to the magic circle, it really was full of magic. The butterfly shook its wings and flew away. I closed my eyes. I could still feel the tickle. In my head, I heard grandmother's songs and smelled roses and cornmeal. Now I remembered grandmother. At this time of year, we as a faith community join many faiths and cultures around the world in honoring those who have passed away, those who are no longer with us on this worldly plane, but are still ever present in our hearts. As you can see, we have created our own altar to remember those loved ones. So as the music plays, if you have brought a picture of someone you would like to honor, please bring it forward at this time and place it on the altar. And if you want to just come down and take a look at the pictures, you are welcome to do that as well. May all souls be blessed. At this time, I would like to invite all those who are in costume this morning to come to the chancel and to help lead this morning's movement prayer. And if you don't want to come all the way up onto the chancel, that's fine. We have limited space. Please encircle the chancel here. So anyone who is in costume who would like to help lead this morning's movement prayer, please come and join us. So if some can come to the front of the chancel here, that would be wonderful. And as they do so, please rise in body or spirit and join us. Right there. First, we bow to honor the Spirit of life. We lift our arms and embrace the gifts of Spirit. We bring these gifts unto ourselves with gratitude and breathe and smile. We share these gifts with the world. We remember to be present. Honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present. Amen. Blessed be. So as this is a multi-generational service, we invite all children to stay with us as we have even more stories coming up. But we do have childcare for our younger children, which is right down the hall on the first floor. So as our children recess, please take this opportunity to greet your neighbor and welcome them into our beloved congregation, especially someone you have not met.
The wind phone. On March 11th, 2011, a mammoth earthquake triggered a devastating tsunami that wreaked havoc in more than 15 cities in northeastern Japan. Waves reached as high as 120 feet. More than 19,000 people were killed, and 2,500 more have never been found. In 30 minutes, the town of Otsuchi was destroyed. In trying to make sense of his grief, a gardener from Otsuchi, Itaro Sasaki, said that he needed a place to air his grief. So he moved an empty phone booth into the remnants of his garden and put an old rotary phone on a wooden shelf inside it, even though the phone wasn't connected to anything. Then he dialed his lost loved ones and began to talk to them. Word spread about the wind phone in Otsuchi, and in time, thousands who had lost loved ones in the tsunami made pilgrimage to visit the phone booth in the garden so they could commune with those they lost through the disconnected phone. There was the 70-year-old grandmother who'd lost her husband. She brought her grandchildren so they could tell their grandfather all about school. And then there was the widower who lost his wife, who just wept into the phone and listened. Then there was the man who lost his parents, his wife, and his 1-year-old son in the tsunami. He dialed the old battered phone and listened to the wind encircle the booth and finally said, "I don't know what I'm waiting for. I'm so sorry I couldn't save you." And the 15-year-old who lost his father, who whispered into the phone, "Why did you have to die?" A month later, he brought over his younger sister to the wind phone. She dialed the phone, and in her tears, she asked, "What happened to your promise to buy me a violin? Now I'll have to buy one all by myself." Of course, this story holds great sadness. But when we can listen to the sadness, not skipping over it, until it brings us to the bottom of all feeling, it becomes beautifully clear that it is the power of raw feeling that moves us to express our fundamental being. And the power of that expression is what draws us together to heal. It's the unmitigated depth of expression that releases resilience. This belongs to everyone, to all of us. When raw enough, when tender enough and honest enough, we're not ashamed to stand in a phone booth in a garden and speak through the ruins into a phone that isn't connected to anything. From the outside, this may seem like desperation. But having been this desperate, I can attest from the inside that this reach into the heart of our grief is a courageous act of being that rips through all the excuses we construct, landing us in the heat and wonder of direct living. And the heart of this courage, the phone whisperers of Otsuchi are profiles of inner courage. Each of them is a poet. And each of us is a poet too, when we dare to swim to the bottom of whatever we feel in order to bring up a taste of what we all have in common. The elixir of our commonness is the reward for diving so deeply and speaking so tenderly. Over the past decade, thousands who had lost loved ones in the tsunami have made the pilgrimage to visit the phone booth in the garden so they could commune with those who they lost through the disconnected phone.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul.
Let us put hands on hearts, feel the heartbeats, connection to life. Breathe in peace. Say to yourself silently, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love can heal this world. As the leaves become brilliantly golden or crimson and fall to the ground, this is our time to honor the congregation beyond, welcoming all souls into our sacred, beloved community. This is a season when our ancestors and loved ones often visit our dreams. In Mexican culture, we are coming to that day when people make their loved ones' favorite foods and decorate an altar to them. As the veil between the beloved dead and the living becomes thin, we seek out the magic circle. We welcome the family of all souls into our worship, saying, come in, so we may remember you, send you our love, and honor you. I will now read the names of those members of All Souls who we have lost since 1 year ago. Elizabeth Marsala, Mary Beasley, Alice Young, Marie Cloud McNulty, Tom Sternberg, Elizabeth Carter, Kathy Nash, I invite you to hold in your heart and in your mind's eye someone special to you who is now your ancestor, in blood or in spirit. Someone who you keep in blessed memory, either family or chosen family who has now journeyed beyond this life. If they are a part of you and a part of what makes you beautiful, then they are a part of us who make this community beautiful. So please bring them in, write their name into the live chat, speak their name and bring their spirit into this sacred time, speaking their name out loud now. This is our love made real. And on days like these, we send our love outward to all people who are hurting. To the people of Lewiston, Maine. Oh, baby. We send our love out to the people of Lewiston, Maine, who have endured lockdowns and loss this week. We send our love out to the souls lost in those communities. We send our love out further still toward people of Israel and people of Palestine, where unspeakable violence is carried out even now. We speak the only prayer that matters: may all children be safe and free. May all people be free to thrive. Spirit of life, love eternal, we rest in holy gratitude. We surrender to a mystery beyond ourselves. We ask forgiveness for our mistakes, those times where we have been selfish or thoughtless, breathing in and out. We offer grace. We forgive ourselves, and we forgive each other. We begin again in love. We breathe in, opening our hearts to wonder for just one moment, feeling a deep connection with all beings, reaching out to the source that connects us all. So now, let us calm our bodies and our minds. We breathe in peace and we exhale. We relax into this space that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the silence.
This has been a hard month for the world. It's so easy to feel powerless in the face of all the horrors, and a natural response is to shut down. Self-protection and self-care are important at times to keep from feeling overwhelmed. But one thing that is meaningful about my UU faith is that we are a faith of the world, of this world, and the real change, the real difference that can be made through our actions in it. At UUCA, we are offered real opportunities to make a difference. This month, we are sharing the plate with El Refugio, an organization here in Georgia that offers hospitality and support to asylum seekers detained at Stewart Detention Center and to their families. There have been many news stories about Stewart Detention Center. They have featured accounts of unsafe health conditions, abuse, and even deaths of people being held there. And every time I read or hear another one, I feel a righteous anger rise up within me, a desire to do something. 2 weeks ago, Barbara Begner addressed this congregation and said, as the issues of migration, occupation, and the human right to safety weigh heavily on our hearts, this is one action we can take that will truly make a difference for immigrants in our own state. Earlier, Shay Stewart stood here, and they linked the critical work being done by El Refugio to our first UU principle, the worth and dignity of every person. It has become increasingly clear that Stewart Detention Center is not providing a safe environment, is not providing proper health care, and is certainly not respecting the humanity and dignity of the people, the human beings, the family members held there. Last week, Helen Hobson, a UUCA congregant who serves on El Refugio's board, talked about a coiled barbed wire fence and glass partitions separating real people in need of help from the rest of us. And she also told us about the important work being done by El Refugio and its volunteers, how a donation will help support life-saving work to assert the dignity and humanity of those who are merely hoping to find their home here among us. I can't say it better. This is the last week of October, which means today is the last Sunday to donate to El Refugio as part of our offering. This morning's offering will now be given and gratefully received.
I walk to the river, waiting to hear the waters sing. I sit down beside her, trying to feel the quiet ring. The leaves break the falling of the sunlight that covers these banks. I feel the water rolling. I've seen the colors fade away. I come to the river, heavy and tired to the bone. I lay down beside her, grave as a slowly sinking stone. I see clear to the bottom. I watch how the shadows play. and it tears at the fallen, and it carries the broken on its way. I've seen the water rolling, I've seen the colors fade away. I've seen the water rolling, I've seen the colors fade away.
Please join me in this morning's dedication of the offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community. We dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Blessings on this gift. May it go far and wide and do the most good. Have you ever played telephone? I see hands. Have you ever played telephone? Yes? Okay. All right. I mean, I thought it would be a lot more people who have played telephone. It's how the word is passed across time, through people. The word changes as each person receives it. They add their own panache, a piece of themselves, and then the word carries on. See, we are each a part of a lineage. The way a phone line works, or maybe the way the game of telephone works. We contribute our part of the story, and the line continues. And you don't need to have your own children to be a part of the lineage. You may be a godparent or a member, or maybe you are a part of a congregation, and so your stories are told and retold in community. But when someone dies, it's like a phone line that has been cut off. Suddenly there's nowhere to plug in. It is just the sound of the wind on the other end of the phone. And it is beginning to become clear that more and more communities are in need of a wind phone. To everything there is a season. There is a time to mourn, a time to cry, and we may not be giving it enough of a season. As I have discussed typically on the final Sunday of October, we need a season. We need a place to mourn as people of a religious tradition. I find power and purpose in the Jewish mourning rituals of Shiva. And a few years ago, I received a fellowship to study and develop a 6-day communal mourning practice grounded in the Unitarian Universalist principles. I think there's still a website out there for it, mourningandhealing.com. So what is mourning versus grief? I'm using those two words interchangeably, but they are different. See, grief relates to the thoughts and feelings that accompany a loss, from sadness to anger to longing to be with this person. And on the other hand, mourning, M-O-U-R-N, mourning, is how feelings of grief are shown to the public. They are acts or they are behaviors that show our sadness or hurt that we are experiencing after losing someone we love. If we give any time or space for grief and mourning at all, it is mostly kept private. It is mostly just grief and not mourning. If people are going through mourning behaviors, well, those are usually in many cultures kept out of the public eye, at least in sort of the dominant American culture. In our culture, we equate healing from grief with the person's ability to return to work, or to return to habit, or to return to normal, right? But deep loss, especially sudden loss, requires a departure from normal, I would argue. What are the real ghosts and ghouls, the fears that haunt us? It is often the time and space that we must take to look our grief right in the face. It's that place where Job of the Old Testament finds himself crying out in anguish, looking for a reason for why something so horrific has happened to him. But he most often does this publicly, among friends. That space between loss and meaning making, the space between loss and meaning, is filled with grief and mourning. It is grief and mourning that create the phone line, that lineage between the living and the dead that is cut off in certain ways but connected still in other ways that are mysterious to us. And it is important to put it somewhere like your garden or a phone booth. See, there's a reason it's not on our cell phone. That's always accessible, always with us. We still have to attend to the life that is in front of us, the life at hand. But if we have a place for it, then we can go back into the garden, find the old rotary phone, and then pick up the line. Then there's that faithful connection once again. And by the way, this is like the most satisfying feeling, holding this phone. Into the phone, we can say whatever needs to be said. Tell about our day, talk about a special event, weep, or simply listen to the wind. The feelings that you feel in grief are what make you human and beautiful. Your deep grief is evidence of your deep love. We just need a place to bring this love, to release our feelings, to share them, release them outward into the world so they might reach beyond our grasp, but link us to the memory and the love we still have for that person who died. I wonder if we could have a wind phone installed here in our memorial garden someday. I found out another UU congregation is installing a wind phone, and I want to do that before they do. But I do want us to have a place to go, a place to talk to our beloveds, to share with them all that we long to share. And in that sharing, in that process of mourning, we find healing and a place to bring it. Whether it's the gentle breeze of the butterfly's wing or the wind of a phone line, let the breeze lift your prayers, your heartbreak, your grief, and especially your love, and let it carry it up, and away, past the realm of our understanding, and outward to the doorway of the soul, outward to the realm of mystery, where the wind takes us all, in the rustle of the dry leaves, in the breath on the cheek, into the deep and quiet memories, the deep mystery of the life beyond. Please join us in song.
And again.
Listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Ah, whoosh, ah, whoosh, ah, whoosh, ah, whoosh. Those who have died have never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the groaning woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in
everything there is a season. So let us seek out the season for us to mourn together. Death can be sad and scary, but we do not have to deal with our feelings alone. Together, we find deep wells of courage. We face the center of all feeling, and together we embrace the mystery as a thing of power, beauty, and love.
Those who have died have never, never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They are in the woman's breast. They are in the wailing child. They are with us in our homes. They are with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Ah, shh, ah, shh, ah, shh, ah,
Go in peace. Go in peace. Amen.